Good morning. Don't mind Jonah over there. He's just going to grab our clicker. But I'm Mark, and this is Jonah, and we are your Greene County security team. So basically, I've been here for almost 9 years now, which is kind of incredible. It's been a very fun and fast 9 years. I started out on the desktop team, worked through the networking team, and now on the security team.
I have a pretty similar story. I've been here about 3 years. I started off on the desktop team as well, worked a little bit with the network team, and now I've also landed on the security team. Our team kind of has a little mission statement just for our team independently. It is to ensure the confidentiality, integrity, and availability of all county information and assets through a balanced, multi-layered, threat-informed strategy. Now, that's a lot of words, and Mark is going to go into a little bit more detail about what those mean.
Yeah. So basically, the point of having the mission statement is just kind of to have that elevator speech of what do you do, and to very succinctly describe it. And so, even though this sounds like a lot of fancy words and a lot of stuff that may not mean anything, it's actually packed full of meaning. So we'll unpack it real quick. So ensuring the confidentiality, integrity, and availability. So that's the very foundation of cybersecurity. Being able to keep information confidential that needs to be confidential. The integrity of information, we make sure that things don't change that aren't supposed to change, or don't change by people who aren't supposed to change things. And then availability is just, can you get to the data that you need? So that's, does the Wi-Fi work? That's, do we have power in this closet? Do we have UPS to keep power going whenever power goes out? So that's what that piece means. And then the balanced approach. So this is kind of the hardest part of our job, is maintaining a balance between security and usability. So if we tilt too far to one side of those, if we go too secure, then you can't use the systems that we provide for you. You can't use the systems that you need to use to get your job done. If we make things too easy, then it also makes things too easy for the bad guys. So it's finding that right balance between this is something that we need to do for the county to protect our network, but at the same time, we want you to be able to do as much as you need to do, to get to easily do your jobs. And then the threat-informed part of the strategy is information sharing, threat intelligence. So this is us partnering with federal, state, and local agencies to get information on what threats are out there, so that we know what we're kind of on the lookout for. It is, sharing something as easy as, hey, we noticed over here in Kansas, that this county in Kansas is being attacked by these certain adversaries. And then we can take that information, apply it to our various defenses, and we can watch out for those same adversaries. Excuse me. Also, I skipped over multi-layered, but that ties into the multi-layered approach, which is a concept of defense in depth. So we don't just have like one tool to protect this one thing or another tool to protect another thing. We have several tools piled on top of each other in a nice layer, so that if someone were able to break through, say, the firewall, we have something else to catch that adversary. So we've got that kind of built in through a lot of different parts of the county, and we find that that's it's a very good, robust approach. But also part of the threat-informed strategy that we're going to touch on a little bit later is the information that we gather from you all. Everything that we gather from you is very valuable to us. We feel like everyone in the county is sort of like a sensor on the network, because you are the one who's going to notice that something weird is going on, right? Whether it's you get a suspicious email, something weird is happening on your computer, you're all of a sudden not able to open up this file you got an email or something like that. That could be a perfect indicator for us that something is going on, something's going wrong. So when you report those things to us, we're able to evaluate, and then we can remediate quickly, we can contain threats quickly, and then we can grab that information, put that into our tools in that multi-layered defense approach, and then we can protect the entire county. So, but yeah, so that is basically what we do, all in that one nice little statement there.
Yeah, thank you. I'm going to touch on some of our current goals. One big one that most of you are probably aware of by now is multi-factor authentication and how we're swapping from RSA to Duo. I'll touch more on that on a different slide we've got. Some of the other ones that are kind of happening in the background is vulnerability testing. We have systems that we maintain that are scanning our services and our servers on our side to check for vulnerabilities and the kind of things that threat actors, which is a word you're going to hear a lot today. That's just kind of a generic word for a malicious person that's trying to break in theoretically. So the vulnerability testing allows us to kind of catch a lot of that stuff and prevent it before somebody would get access. Penetration testing is a more thorough form of that, where you would actually hire an organization to pretend to be that threat actor and try to break in. That's something we're also investigating to see if we could have that done. And then another huge one that's always a problem is awareness. So that is what we're doing right now. We're trying to bring awareness to all this, get people in the know, because just like Mark said, you guys are our sensors. You let us know when weird stuff is happening before we can see it.
I did push that. Oh, here we go.
So Mark is also going to touch a little bit on our services because he knows the most about these things.
So these are some of the services that we offer. We offer the county. They're listed up there. I'm not going to go through all of them, but some of those are just focused on, just on IT. This is what we do as a piece of the IT team for the department, for the network. Some of these, like assessing security posture, sounds like it's just focused on IT, but it's not necessarily. That is, with all of you that have different compliance needs, like CGIS or CGIS, PCI, anything like that, we can help. We can help to assess how, at least the IT portion of those compliance things. We can help with assessments, whether that's doing security assessments in your area for your office to determine whether there are some controls that we can focus on or tighten up. So that's something that we do offer. Our firewall and IPS, our intrusion prevention system, want to touch on that quickly. Firewall, because it's really awesome. Like, we have what they consider a next generation firewall. So it is advanced. It does more than just block this address or that address. It does look for different, I'd say, behaviors of traffic that's coming through the firewall. So it's very exciting. The IPS has saved us numerous times. We can see things like, we get hit from like, let's say China. We get attacked from China daily, like multiple times a day. And IPS and firewall block all of those attempts. And then as far as like spam, virus, web filter protection, the one you guys are probably familiar with is Sophos. Sophos is what we would consider antivirus, but it's more than that. It's anti-malware. It's really just endpoint defense on your computer. So it's also doing not just signature-based detection. We're not just looking for like this specific thing coming through. It's also doing like behavior analytics, like this is what your traffic normally looks like, but today it looks really weird. Or you tried to open this application, and this application behaves a whole lot like all this other malware that we've seen. So we're just going to go ahead and preventatively block that. So it's really another very robust tool that we have, and it's all part of that layer. So we've got at the top layer, data coming in, you've got firewall and intrusion prevention, and at your end of the layer, we've got Sophos. So if anything gets through this, we've got Sophos over here to catch it and protect it. And then one of our favorites is suspicious email analysis. Basically what that is anytime you get a weird email, something suspicious, just forward it to the help desk. And we'll take a look at it. We can determine whether we think it is malicious or it's not malicious. And if it is malicious, then we can go ahead and block it. We can block the sender. We can look for any indicators in that email that we can block at the network level. So then that blocks it for everybody. So if it didn't just go to Chad, it went to the entire county, but Chad's the only one who says something, we can go ahead and block it and block the bad stuff for the entire county. And then that way everyone else is protected thanks to Chad. But yeah, so this is something we encourage everybody. Just we never get upset about getting these at the help desk. We actually really enjoy looking at them and figuring out whether they're, whether it's malicious or not. So anything that's suspicious, feel free to send it into the help desk and we'll take a look at it.
Now we're going to touch on Duo, which I'm sure everyone is very excited about. So let's start. No, this is good. This is a good thing.
It's good. It's good.
To start off, I want to talk about some of the advantages. And this, for some people who more frequent the huddle, you might be kind of familiar with these from when Josh talked about it here recently, but we'll just kind of retouch on it. It's got a smoother, modern app experience where you kind of, you type in your password, you do what you do, and then you get the pop-up on your phone if you have that version saying, hey, do you approve this? Is this you? Rather than typing in that PIN. A big advantage on our side is not only can we protect VPN, which we've always been able to do with RSA, but it allows us to protect your email, which is one of our biggest threats, and allows us to also protect computer systems. On the long road is wanting, we can enable it for whenever you log into your computer, you have to use that. So then somebody can't just sit down and somehow know your password and log in. You still have to have that second factor. Some things I wanted to talk about to be aware of is, as part of that information sharing that Mark mentioned, we got some recent reports of what they're calling MFA bombing. This is being done by some of those threat actors I mentioned earlier, and what they're doing is they're attempting to log into your account and just spamming you with notifications to your phone. And in hope that on one of them, on accident, you're going to slip up, you're going to hit approve instead of deny, and then they have access to everything they want. We're doing everything we can on our side to prevent this possibility. We have things set up to where, if so many attempts are sent through, it blocks it, it shuts down the account so it can't go further. But we got the report of it, and I just wanted to make everybody aware of it because that's one of our goals. Mm-hmm. So I just wanted to say, if you ever notice that happening, if you ever get spammed with a bunch of notifications, when these come, just hit deny, give us a call. We can kind of go through it. I also wanted to talk about the individual snippets on that notification. So the first one you see is, are you logging into Cisco AnyConnect VPN? So that tells you, hey, this is the application that you're attempting to authenticate to. And you want to make sure that's correct. So if you tried logging into your email, but it's showing VPN, you don't want to approve that. And the same thing goes. You always want to make sure it shows the Greene County, the correct location, the time, and the username. Where it shows J Helms, it would show whatever your username is. So those are just good things to be aware of once we do this, since it will be that smoother experience where you don't have to type in the code, but there is chance for threat actors to take advantage of that. So we just want to make sure that we're diligent. The other thing, that kind of just random int4.greencountymode.gov link I have, we'll actually talk about that on the next slide. Maybe this will work this time, but I think Jared's got me as well. So out on the employee access portal on the internal website, we have a bunch of PDFs uploaded with some basic how-to instructions for Duo. This is going to be a big change for everybody, and we want to make it as easy as possible on our side. So we've got various ones from, NetMotion for our sheriff people. We've got webmail with Duo software and hardware tokens, and AnyConnect with Duo token, and then that mobile app as well. So feel free, go out there. I'm not sure if all of you are familiar with the internal website or not, but you can either go to int4.greencountymode.gov, or on the very bottom of greencountymode.gov, on the bottom right, there's that little logo of Missouri with Greene County highlighted. You can click either of those, it'll get you there. And then the employee access section on there is where all those are located. So those are great. Feel free to go out there, and if you have any questions, you can always reach out to our help desk, and we can provide any more support needed on that. Just some kind of generic things to remember as well. The help desk contact. You got a couple different options. You can email helpdesk@greencountymode.gov, or you can call us. If you're internal, you can just dial that 4031. You don't have to dial the whole number. You can always just also stop by. We're open, Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, if you need something. Another thing, kind of like what Mark touched on earlier, is if you ever see something suspicious, let the help desk know. We're always happy to get that kind of information because it's crucially important to our mission. Another thing I kind of wanted to mention is, cybersecurity is a lot more than just the computer side of it. Physical security is also a large part of it, and I wanted to mention tailgaters. So a concept in this kind of refers to, somebody sliding in after you if you badge into a door and they kind of slide in right behind you. So it's something we just kind of wanted to mention, throw it out there. Be aware if you're going into, say you're coming into the courthouse early, and somebody tries to follow up behind you. You might want to make sure, hey, where's your badge? Do you have your badge? Do you work here? That kind of stuff, just to make sure that they're not getting access to somewhere they shouldn't. And then just wanted to reiterate, never hesitate to send any suspicious emails over to us at the help desk. We are, as Mark said, we are always happy to evaluate those.
All right. Do you have any questions about anything?
So the Duo, is it
Yes.
live for having to log into your email and everything yet, or right now is it just like the network? Because I've only had to approve it for the VPN.
Sure. Right now it's just VPN.
Right, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yes.
My office gets a lot of attachments from taxpayers, change of address, PDFs, things like that.
Mhm.
Do we need to be concerned with how we're handling those as they come in? If it's something spreadsheet, or I know a lot of viruses can be attached to Excel spreadsheets and things like that. But are PDFs typically fairly safe to open?
I think it's hard to answer. I think the biggest thing is ensuring that it's coming from who you expect it to come from.
Okay. We just get an email.
Okay, so
That says, hey, I've moved, here's my new address, because we provided them a form on our webpage, and they can either fax it to us, mail it to us, or just turn around, fill it out, and email it back to us, which a majority of them do.
I know that the modern PDF viewers that we use, they also are pretty good about opening, and Excel and Office products do the same thing. They'll open in protected view first, so they won't enable those kind of features. And we also, like Mark mentioned, we have Sophos as well on all the computers, that anytime you open something like that, it is being scanned. So I would mainly, it's always good to be vigilant and keep an eye on those. But the main ways that we've noticed suspicious emails and I should say malicious emails come through is they'll normally have, kind of like weird, they'll be like HTML attachments or HTML attachments, or they'll have links in the emails that'll like direct you to a download. Those are the ones that are the most potential.
I had one that was trying to get us to log into an iCloud to
Yeah.
see,
Mhm.
and I just replied back, hey, you got to use the form.
Mhm.
Diving into somebody else's thing. They're like, oh, sorry. Okay. And they ended up just taking a photo of it. I think they were just innocent about it, but
Right.
it was just unfortunate we have to be that way.
Yeah, and that is the difficulty. Is a lot of times with some of these suspicious emails that we look at, when I first get it, I'm like, okay, this is 100% suspicious. This is not legitimate. There's no way. And then as I dig deeper into it, we find out that it is legitimate. It's just how that person uses technology. So that is the difficulty. Of just, we have certain indicators we look for. Most of the time, it's a sign of maliciousness, but not always. So it's just doing that due diligence, and then not being cavalier about it, but knowing that we do have, those layers of protection in place between the application and endpoint protection. Yeah, that was a good question. That's a tough one. Does anybody else have anything? All right, I think they're done. All right, that's it for us. Thank you very much. Is that it? Nice.
I almost want to remark to be like, for example, yeah.